know there are many people participating virtually as well. A few years ago, one of our country's chemical manufacturers contacted CISA, our Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, to flag an unusual order of a seemingly innocuous chemical that had come in. CISA's mandate enabled them to respond to the inquiry, but it was their CFATS authority that enabled them to dig deeper. CISA investigators were able to link the unusual order to another separately reported stolen batch of chemicals, a case that on its own appeared to local law enforcement to be nothing more than a routine burglary. I'm not at liberty, of course, to tell you what chemical had been ordered. I cannot tell you what chemical had been stolen. I cannot tell you exactly what happens when those two chemicals are combined and set off in a large crowd of people. But I can tell you that the initial call to CISA, the one that kicked off their investigation of these seemingly unrelated events, came from a high-risk chemical facility in a major metropolitan area that was just weeks away from hosting a major marathon featuring tens of thousands of runners and spectators. I can tell you that CISA investigators who were well-versed in the Oklahoma City bombing, the West Fertilizer Company explosion, and the Boston Marathon bombing knew better than to treat this confluence of events as a harmless coincidence. I can tell you that their CFATS authority enabled CISA, local law enforcement, and federal agents to better coordinate and launch a national security response. Most importantly, I can tell you that weeks later, the marathon went off without a hitch, with the participants and spectators unaware that there might have been a security risk materialize. Stories of this kind have come across the Secretary of Homeland Security's desk countless times since CFATS regulations were first promulgated in 2007. I have been briefed on many of them myself during my time as Deputy Secretary and since being sworn in as a Secretary in 2021. Few such events are ever reported in the news, but countless lives have undoubtedly been saved by the collaboration of Congress and CFATS and what they have long established among and enabled CISA, DHS, private industry, and law enforcement. It is a worthy and important legacy and a critical plank of our national security apparatus. Both have now been jeopardized because some have declined for the first time to reauthorize CFATS authorities. Already, CISA has been effectively barred from determining who is accessing 3,242 high-risk chemical facilities or monitoring whether or not facilities are stockpiling dangerous chemicals. Already, we have been barred from enforcing penalties on facilities that violate safety standards. Even though the chemical industry at large supports CFATS reauthorization and is pushing Congress for its reauthorization, already a few chemical facilities have decided not to move ahead with security investments and enhancements because of the expiration of the regulation. More have expressed concern about an interest in doing so should reauthorization language in the Senate much longer. The risk that terrorists could access and weaponize the dangerous chemicals produced in these facilities increase day by day. I wanted to join you today and speak at this summit to make this point and make it very clearly. The safety and security of 3,242 high-risk chemical facilities across all 50 states, the safety and security of our communities, and the safety and security of the American people are not political bargaining chips. They are not a frivolous use of government resources. Our national security has not been and cannot become a partisan endeavor. The chemical threat environment is rapidly evolving, as the discussions featured throughout this summit are a testament to. CFATS is the foundation of all those chemical security efforts, publicly and privately, now and in the future. The Senate must reauthorize CFATS as soon as it is back in session. Time is not our ally when it comes to confronting terrorists, chemical weapons, or chemical threats. CFAT's reauthorization passed the House of Representatives by a vote of 409 to 1. Reauthorization is popular, it is bipartisan, it is common sense, and it is critical. I am grateful to all of you here who have made this point repeatedly and clearly throughout the last month and throughout this summit, including Director Easterly, the Director of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. She wrote and published an op-ed just this week. I am proud to be here with you today and add my voice to this important public chorus. I will continue to do so until this essential component of our national security apparatus is implemented. I hope you will echo that as well. Thank you very much for everything you do day in and day out to keep our country safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Secretary Mayorkas, for your support for this critical chemical security mission and your leadership in helping to get the CFATS program reauthorized. If you can't tell from our leadership sessions this morning, both the department and CISA firmly believe that CFATS needs to be reauthorized